Dimensions are an interesting topic. As with everything, it all starts in the mind. And the only real knowledge, knowing, experience, self-evidence I have with dimensions is the psychological type of dimensions. And for me, it comes from experiencing different contexts and different meanings from movies, written works, even games, when I'm in a different state of awareness. Especially when I'm experiencing these novelty experiences during compressions of the time wave. Sometimes everything means something vastly different. The contrast is striking. And I've come to understand that there are many, many meanings. We have many meanings to words, okay, but they may have many meanings on a singular level. But the same words they have meanings from other points of view. Like often nouns become verbs from another point of view, from a place where there are no names, there are no labels, from that higher consciousness where there's no need for labels because everything is telepathic. There's no impediment to communication the natural way through harmonic sympathetic resonance between minds. There's no need for nouns, is there? Or there may not be need for verbs, but during that process of solidifying, making coarser the fine, defining, or refining. That's two different directions. There are many layers and layers and layers, and that to me is a dimension. Now, one way to look at that is, I think I've mentioned this before, the ADBMR thing that I came up with in 2005. The state of conscious awareness, from going from in the evolution of consciousness, in the evolution of conscious awareness, you've got to start somewhere and you end up somewhere. And at the beginning you may be a rock that just doesn't really know anything. It just has a little bit of conscious awareness. It may understand that it's a rock, and that's about it. That's the dot. That's the original. That's probably, let's say, the lowest form of conscious awareness, and that's what I made the A, the is principle. It is, and is when it becomes, when it raises in conscious awareness and it finds a body which suits that new conscious awareness, it starts doing things. It becomes aware that it's actually doing something. It may be doing that completely automatically, subconsciously, but it may become aware that it's doing. And by doing, through repetition, it becomes aware eventually that it's becoming something. That all it's doing is making something. It's becoming. It's being, eventually. And from that being perspective, eventually it'll come to it is. It is. It's self-aware. It has the ego. It becomes self-aware. So it's I am. So we get the I am thing coming from that doing, that being, becoming and being, and becomes I am. And eventually it comes to the realization that it's connected to the whole universe, and there's not much that goes on without that connection. It realizes that I am all there is. I am everything. So So for me, it's IR, okay? So that's where I get the A, do, be, am, are, right? And these are levels of the psyche, psychological dimensions, all right? And as you can see, the higher the dimensions, each higher dimension encompasses all the lower dimensions within it. You know, awareness. You're aware of all those lower dimensions being part of you. But you're not aware of the higher dimensions until you realise, until you self-realise those dimensions, that you are part of them too, and they're part of you. Which is one way of saying that love can see fear, but fear can't see love, right? Because love allows, accepts, and includes everything, and fear does not. It cannot see what it rejects. Where love includes, accepts everything, it can see everything because it doesn't create resistance and obstructions to its point of view. It can see back to source through those relative thresholds created by the no principles in their manifestation. So love can see fear, but fear can't see love, and that explains a lot, doesn't it? I mean, fear can see the expression of love, but it can't understand it. It hasn't got the tools to figure it out. It hasn't allowed itself to find them, and hasn't allowed it. We can't recognise them, because recognition is seeing something in something else that you recognise in yourself. You know, that's how love can see fear, because it recognises it within itself. It sees all that in itself, in the past, perhaps. Maybe it doesn't express that way anymore, but it understands it because it's been there. Now, the experience of the multi-dimensional multi-dimensions in the psyche, in the mind, is one where when I'm in that place of total inclusion, acceptance and allowance, I can see something, I can see higher meaning in something, in anything I view, I read, I experience, and where someone coming from a lower level of conscious awareness will take a fear-based message out of that. Well, first I have the logic. I'll say, okay, that's fear-based. Let's go past that. Let's go further up the chain towards source and find out what the love-based meanings are. Because everything has. How do you explain that the universe is that perfect? You know, and it's all a game. And all the fear-based part of it is an illusion. It's all part of the game. Yeah. And if you want to stop playing the game, well, it's just a matter of realising, using that logic, and using that to guide your own spiritual and your personal physical experiences. Everything, it works all the time, every time. Like, for instance, everything that's written in the past, everything to do has multi layers of meanings. Let's look at the old folk tale, the wishing well. All right. Now, when we come from a fear-based perspective, we're asking for a wish, but really, from a higher perspective, there's a clue there. There's been clues left in all our lore, especially folk tales and stories from the past. New ones as well, but. From one perspective, wishing well means to wish well, to wish you well. And then the penny drops, you see. Because you're in that place of the bigger picture. And you can join the dots. The penny drops. There are little clues scattered all over the place, right throughout history. And, in so many forms, depending on, the state of minds who wrote them. And often, a lot of people are saying now, we are channeled. We don't really have a lot of autonomy, if any, on our own. We're channeled from all our higher aspects of ourselves. I'm finding that to be the case as well. I can tell you a beautiful story there, where I suddenly had absolutely no control of my body. This is conscious daytime. I made them laugh, and my knees fell out from underneath me. You know, I was aware that I was continually opening up and connecting to higher levels and larger audiences, you might say. And I decided to play a trick of them. I was twisting my neck a lot, trying to clear out all those, I don't know what it is in the back of the neck, whether it's sinus channels or whatever, but it seemed to be continually getting blocked up after all this belief clearing stuff that I was going through. And I was shaking my head around, and I was in my kitchen and talking to the universe like I normally do, just talking out loud, just for the benefit of those who do need technology to listen in, because I didn't want to exclude anybody. I mean, this was me experiencing extreme novelty, you know, something I've never read about, I've never heard about, incredible things, and working stuff out, you know, working out what's going on and how to fix it. And this is something I wanted to share with everybody. Understanding it's not just me, it's the universe expressing through me as well. So, you know, that's maybe our side of the story. So I thought of that Total Recall, is it the movie where the guy starts shaking his head and his face goes all funny? I started doing that. I started shaking my head a little bit more violently and getting really, really fast until it was a blur. And suddenly I stopped and I thought, I'm back. And all of a sudden this really ominous feeling took hold of me, and everything was whoa. And I'm like, whoa. And then I said, I'm just kidding. And the minute I said, I'm just kidding, the second that had left my lips, my knees just fell out from underneath me. And there's nothing I can do. This is the first time this has ever happened in my life. I've never lost control of any part of my body. I've never had epilepsy or anything like that. And all of a sudden my knees just dropped out from underneath me because I knew what was going on. I just made them laugh. So suddenly I'd lost control. I'd lost control of my knees. Don't know how it related to the knees, but, you know, the old thing. There's an old saying about that somewhere. There's some connection with the knees and laughing. But anyway, yeah, that's just one of my experiences, one of the funny things that go on around here. And then I was rolling on the floor laughing my ass off as well, you know, because it was funny. You know, here I am, all of a sudden, oh no, you know, this guy's gone into fear, oh my God, and some entities coming through him and all this sort of stuff. I guess everybody's got their beliefs and they're all stuck in the lore, you know, like the old Matrix movies. They're a bit of fun. You know, we have this idea, like in the Matrix movies, it's organics versus the machine, yeah. Well, really, you know, as far as I'm concerned, organics are a machine, and the higher universe is more machine-like than we are. We're more organic than the rest of them. The aliens, they're more machine-like than we are, much more logical as well, but less sensual, less feeling, you know. And that's what I feel these bodies are for, this creation of ours is for, you know, for that sensual, for those sorts of pleasures, yeah. I mean, sex is a big part of it. Sex is like a driving force. It's a pull force. That's a pull energy, the sexual energy, the sexual tension, the attraction. That's part of the force that's pulling us through the centre of this toroidal time cycle, you know, one of the cycles anyway. On the other hand, we've got the motive force, the push force, pushing us in from behind, and we're going through this tight little gap right now. It seems everything's squeezing, compressing, like time seems to be compressing. The intervals between my novel experiences are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. It's just in line with the I Ching theories that Terence McKenna has talked about, or the I Ching, how I pronounce it. Yeah, as far as that goes, I know nothing about it. I haven't really looked into it. I understand it's based on 64 bits, you might say. And I can't imagine what's going to happen when it all comes to 0 point. I expect that to happen sometime this year. Interesting.